Good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. I'm exhausted.
I bet. It's
What a
last day
week.
of Con, I know.
Comic-Con.
Right?
It's it.
You guys are probably exhausted too. Have you been here the whole time?
Yeah.
We have.
I feel bad saying I'm exhausted. I took the day off yesterday. I relaxed at the hotel. It was wonderful.
Did you just hang out?
Wonderful. Took a harbor cruise in the afternoon.
Oh, that
Wow.
sounds fun.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Is it your first Comic-Con?
I've been coming to Comic-Con as a fan for almost 20 years. And only as a working professional for the last couple of years. And this today is my first ever. We're going to be doing a panel today. It's my first ever Comic-Con panel.
Oh, how exciting!
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's so great. So I've never had a movie premiere at Comic-Con before. So it's really
That's
cool.
going to be huge when you tell your friends or your family, my movie is premiering at Comic-Con.
I know, it sounds really exciting, you know. So we'll see. I don't know, but hopefully we'll get some kids in there today who'll enjoy it. I mean, you know, it's Scooby Doo.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's Scooby Doo. I mean, we all grew up. I grew up on Scooby Doo.
Yep.
We all did, right? I mean, I can't believe that I get the keys to this. Well, I should say van. I was going to say keys to the car. I can't believe I get these keys and get to do this. Now, after growing up watching Scooby Doo, living Scooby. I mean, I feel like I was living Scooby Doo as a kid. This movie is set in New England, and I grew up in New England. And the thing about that place is that it's so steeped in history that you're surrounded all the time by ghost stories. And so I grew up like that. I always felt like I was living in Scooby Doo when I was a kid. So now I get to do it. It's fun.
Is this the first Scooby Doo project you've worked on?
It is the first that I've worked on. Yeah.
So how did you get pulled into it?
I was kicking around Warner Brothers. I had done some episodes of a show called Justice League Action, and I guess a funny thing happened. That obviously the great tradition of Scooby Doo is having fabulous guest stars, and I think that a genius at the studio said, who are the biggest stars around now? Let's get some celebrity chefs, and let's put together Scooby Doo, and meeting celebrity chefs, and of course, obviously, with Shaggy and Scooby being,
Foodies.
foodies is a good way to put it, right? They are definitely foodies. So it made a lot of sense, and I think someone said, boy, who do we know who is a Food Network junkie? And happily, someone remembered that I had been talking about how I'm obsessed with food television. And it's all I watch at home.
That's funny.
So they called me in and they said, "What do you think about this?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" They said, "Let's do it." So it was great. Getting to live in the world of Scooby Doo for a little while is an incredible thing. And I've gotten some more opportunities to do some more of that since too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did the decision to have Bobby Flay be like the main one? Was that your decision or was that somebody else's decision?
I was fortunate that Bobby was already excited to do it before I even came on board. So he was already, on board. And I remember I came up with a story. And I went for a meeting with my executive at Warner's, and I said, "Well, here it is." He goes, "Well, let's get Bobby on the phone and see what he thinks. Let's get his input." I said, "Wait, we're going to call Bobby Flay?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we called him up, and I pitched him the story. It was my first time that I got to meet him was over the phone, and he could not have been more excited and more supportive. And he was, he had some ideas, and we put it all together, and I think we've made a really fun movie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how did you pick the second chef?
Well, I think if you watch television, you know that Bobby Flay and Giada De Laurentiis are like peanut butter and jelly. They're pals. They host a lot of shows together. You always see them hanging around with each other. And we said, this is in order to have a really fun chemistry between our stars. What better way to do that than to get people who we know already have that terrific chemistry? And Giada is a huge star. So we were very lucky that she wanted to do it as well. Now let me tell you, it was not as easy to sign Nacho, Flay, and Bella De Laurentiis to the film. As I'm sure you know because you follow Nacho on Instagram and Twitter, is Bobby Flay's cat, who does make an appearance in the film as one of the stars of the film. And Bella De Laurentiis, Giada's cat, is also part of the film. Yeah, but they had a lot of demands. It was tough, to get them to say yes. But once we did, we knew we had a movie.
That's hilarious. I can't wait to see it.
I know, I'm really excited.
So how did you come up with the story?
Well, like I said, I grew up in New England, and so I said, I grew up on Scooby Doo, Where Are You? And fabulous guest stars and a fun mystery, in New England, like I said, it's steeped in historical ghost story type of stuff, and I said I really want to do something like that. I think let's do a ghost story, but let's have some history, some real history, behind it, and so that's kind of what we came up with, and it's obviously it's got a huge sort of food component to it as well. There is I don't know what I can say about it. But there is
they're premiering it right after this, right?
Yeah, so I think I can say that there's a long line of chefs in the Flay family. And we'll meet a couple of those along the way in this story. And
so is the red ghost related, perchance?
I know you want me to tell you that, but as we have not shown the film yet, I will not tell you anything about the red ghost. But I think if you know Scooby Doo, and I know you do, you know that there will be some surprises. You may think you know where this is going. It may take a turn.
No.
We'll see. But the gang, Mystery Inc., the gang, they always get their man. So
that's true. Yeah. Has there been a Scooby Doo where they actually don't get the man?
Oh, that's a great question. And I will. I don't think I can say.
Okay.
And here's why. Because there are more things coming in the Scooby Doo universe, and.
Gotcha.
One of those things does relate to that question, and that's all I'll say.
Okay, now I'm very intrigued.
I know. Are you working on any other Scooby-Doo projects then?
Yeah, awesome. As a matter of fact. Yeah, a couple of them. So.
How is that? So were you really nervous going into Scooby-Doo? Because it is such a, it's a timeless thing.
Let me be completely honest with you. I should have been totally terrified, just totally terrified. But what overrode all of that was the excitement. I was so excited to get to live with that Shaggy dialogue and those great, all of them. Daphne and Fred and Velma especially too. I just really was excited to sort of come at the problem from her perspective. So I think the excitement overrode any of the nerves that I had in the beginning. Now I think I still get a little nervous because it is a big thing. It's a big responsibility. But happily, I think once you start with those voices in your head, and there's such a backlog of all of the many years of Scooby Doo and all the great Scooby we've gotten, I think it works out okay.
Was there any particular genre or series of Scooby-Doo that you focused on mostly? Because I know you said you grew up on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
I grew up on Where Are You, and for me, and that was kind of the idea with this movie, was let's return to that form, and where we've got our central mystery, but we got some fabulous guest stars, and we'll sort of tie them all together. And but it's a movie, so we kind of expand that just a little bit.
Besides Bobby and Giada, was there any other guest star in the past that was your favorite?
Well, first of all, I should also mention that you'll see Marcus Samuelsson, who's another great chef, who's going to be making an appearance in the film as well, which we were I was so excited because I'm a huge Chopped fan.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, oh my gosh, Marcus Samuelsson.
It's so cute because you're so into meeting the chefs and working with them. That's
and they
lovely.
were terrific.
That's so
they were
cool.
terrific. You know, I couldn't. You know, and I should have known, because these guys are not just world-class chefs. They are television stars.
They're entertainers.
They know how to hit their marks. You know, and so they just blew everybody away.
So how do you work with people who already have an established presence, and you have to write the script and use a voice that's going to match them and fit them? Is it just because you know them well, you've watched them on TV, so you kind of know how they would come across, or how do you work
I think that was why I got the job, was because I did, because I have watched these guys on TV, and I could sort of figure out their voices, but you know, there's you know, you'll hear Giada say, you know, she was surprised that she could do all of these amazing things that I'm having her do in the movie, and but I think it's still in character for her. I think it's still, you know, it's I sort of wrote these characters, these chefs, the way that I see them, and I think the way we all see them. They're to me, they're heroes. So it was a great, fun opportunity to get to figure out their voices, and we worked together. You know, we figured it out together as we went through the process.
So were you in the recording, like in there when they were recording the voices? And...
Yeah. But I mean, mostly I just try to stay quiet and let our amazing director Doug Murphy and Wes Gleason is our voice director, who's, you know, a very accomplished voice director and casting director. Let them do their thing, and I'm there to answer questions when somebody says, "Hey, what do you think you mean here?" That's about it.
Did they get to improv at all? The guests at all?
I mean, I always encourage it, but I'm never the one in charge. So,
Right.
but you know, it's funny. We I had here's the biggest challenge I had, but again, for me, it wasn't too bad because I watch a lot of food TV, but having to come up with complicated and interesting dishes for our heroes to talk about. You know, so I'm coming up with what are the things that Shaggy would, you know, when he meets a famous chef, what would he want him to make for him?
Yeah.
You know, what are the things that he never gets to eat on the road? You know, trying to come up with those kinds of things was complicated, but you know, all I had to do was remember and think back to all my many hours of food television. I will just put it on all day. I don't know if you guys are like me. I can't stop watching it, and I'll watch ones that aren't. By the way, I should mention I can't cook.
That's the best part.
I can't cook, but I watch all of it as if I could.
Right.
Like, well, you know, I could do that. I just don't want to.
I'll order them.
I gotta ask, did they cook for you at all?
Not yet. Not yet. You know, it was a busy working day, you know, so working days. So not yet, but I'm hoping that, you know, I'm going to show up at Bobby's restaurant and, you know, get the royal treatment. It's never going to happen, by the way. He'd be like, "Who are you?"
Right? What would you want Bobby to cook for you, or Giada to cook for you?
First of all, I am a simple man. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a simple man, but when I watch Bobby Flay make a burger, it is done with such care and such attention to detail that I've never tasted one of his burgers, and all I want to do is eat a Bobby Flay burger. So I think that's all I would ask for. And you know, he's a huge, amazing chef who, you know, I could ask him probably to do what like Shaggy does. I could ask him to make some very complicated things, but no, it's got to be a burger.
Gotta be a burger. How did you become a writer for the movies?
So it's funny. I never grew up. I watched all of these shows, and I'm a big action figure collector. which never ended for me. And I've always been a fan. And I had an opportunity to pitch for a show, and I pitched a couple of ideas for episodes for a show. And I had been trying to get into the, be a professional writer, and I'd done some work, but I hadn't really broken through. And happily, they picked up those episodes of that show, and that's kind of what started the whole thing for me. And really, and Gourmet Ghost is the first movie that I've written. So.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Thanks.
So, what shows have you worked on?
So, I have, I can't, it's funny thing about animation is that as the writer, you're the first part of the process. And then it's a couple of years before anybody can even talk about it.
Right.
So most of it I can't tell you about.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I did do several episodes of a show called Justice League Action. And I did a Lego DC Superhero Girls.
Oh, I love those.
Okay.
Yeah, so much fun. And I've also worked on a show over at let's see, what else can I tell you? I can't tell you about it. There's so many things I can't tell you, but in the next couple of years you're gonna be excited, I think. We got some fun stuff coming down.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I'm not just dodging you. I really can't tell you.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's
We're
very
used
true.
to it.
Gary will come over here and just
Smack you.
seriously.
All right, I'm going to take Tim away.
All right.
Can I
Thank
take
you
a
so
quick
much.
Thank you so
photo?
much.
Sure.